am Martha Fischer, the youngest of Beth's 4 children. Those of you who are gathered here today mostly knew my mother because of the last 11 years that she has lived here in Madison and Middleton. She was your bridge partner, your neighbor, your meal partner, your friend and confidant, your PEO sister, or your fellow churchgoer. You may also have known her through me or my husband or children as someone who frequently attended School of Music concerts, Bill's students' recitals or his lectures, always contributing her cookies for the receptions, or Memorial High School musicals and forensic team events. It has been my pleasure and joy to get to know so many of you who were so good to my mother and so important in her life. I'm going to do my best to get through this. I'm not sure how well I'll do, but most of you know that my mom and I were 2 peas in a pod. We were very close. Mom used to tell me how devastated she was when she found out that she was pregnant at the age of 40. After an ectopic pregnancy a couple years after Norman was born that hospitalized her for nearly 6 weeks, the doctor had told her that if she got pregnant, she'd have to look for the star in the east. Dad reassured her and said, "Oh, Beth, what if we have a girl? Wouldn't that be wonderful?" And her dear friend, Dorothy Ruge, my second mother, said, "Oh, Beth, I always wanted to have a large family and couldn't. I'll help you raise her." And she did. Since my brothers had all left home by the time I was 8, it was basically Mom and Dad and me from then on. After moving to Darien, Connecticut, Mom and I made frequent 13-hour car trips back to Michigan, she as the sole driver. And we would sing hymns, talk about everything, tell stories, and enjoy each other's company. Mom drove me into New York City for my piano lessons every week during my high school years, an hour-long drive each way during rush hour. She loved to tell how I would sleep on the way in. She'd sleep on the way in. And then she'd chatter all the way home. Yes, we were very close. Bill and I, along with Katie and Nathaniel, have felt especially privileged to be the ones living near Mom during these last years of her life. She has been an integral part of the fabric of our every day, and not having her here will be quite an adjustment. But we will carry her love and lessons with us, and I know that will be a great comfort in the days to come. One of the most remarkable things about my mother in the last 11 years and throughout her life was the way in which she embraced change. She didn't just adapt to it, she actually embraced it. Moving back to Plymouth, Michigan from Fairfax, Virginia after our dad died in 1987, and moving to Madison in 2001, first to Soft Gardens and then to Middleton Glen, were all moves that she chose, anticipated, and enjoyed. She loved making new friends. She looked for ways to participate in and enjoy her new surroundings. Even last February, when it became clear that assisted living at Oakwood was appropriate, she chose and then accepted it. And when hospice became the right choice, she chose that as well. I am convinced that this is why my mother lived so long. Her health was actually quite poor, but her attitude was amazing. One of the hospice doctors said that Mom had been given 9 lives, and she was about on life number 13. My mother was not someone who was self-reflective. She lived in the moment, and once she made a decision, she took the consequences and made the most of it. Her declining health was certainly a frustration for her, but I still always felt that she lived her life primarily by focusing outside of herself on others. Even last week, when she could barely speak and was sleeping most of the time, she would still notice when I walked in the room and ask me in an oh-so-faint voice, "So what's the news? How is everybody? What's the latest from Katie or Nathaniel? What about your students? It was incredible. When my brothers would call, she would never want to talk about herself, but always asked about them and their kids and grandkids. I'm not kidding. She really did this. Now, I'm not trying to paint my mother as some kind of saint. We all know that she wasn't. You all know how much she disliked the food here at Oakwood. And man, when she lost at cards, she was very negative, maybe even self-pitying. And she complained about weekends that were dull, dull, dull. But these were anomalies in her life. She was basically a positive, outwardly focused, lovable, joyful, youthful, loving, incredibly generous, and friendly person who taught me, and others I suspect, what it means to grow old gracefully. May we always remember.
I invite you to stand if you're able, and let us say Psalm 23 printed in your bulletins. Please join me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall